welcome to the quarterfinals of the Indianapolis Open weekend here on the SCG Tour. Cedric Phillips, Patrick Sullivan here in the booth, Nick Miller down in the feature match area, live tweeting all the results as we get ready to watch Peter Ingram on Jeskai Control against John Pellman and his white-red control deck, number 1 and number 8 overall seed. You at home pick the match that we're watching, and we're going to watch Ingram right now try to get by this very innovative white-red control deck.
Like I said, I think priority 1 for Ingram is fetching for a plains. Can get up basic plains into play. He doesn't have to worry that much about Blood Moon. Even though he's got a lot of 1-mana spells in his deck, most of them are creature removal spells, and Pellman doesn't play with a lot of creatures. So even if he gets hit a Chalice for 1, it's not the end of the world. But if he's caught off guard by Blood Moon, it's potentially really bad news.
You see Pellman not happy with his opening hand, so he'll take a mulligan here. So we'll take a moment to learn a little bit more about our number 1 overall seed, and that is Peter Ingram, a player that is a member of team Metagame Gurus. This team has been formed from the Long Island area. Now, Peter is from a different city in New York that you do see in Wanta. He's 25 years old with 2 open top 8s, an invitational top 8 as well to his name. He collects retro video games, big Coheed and Cambria fan, much like myself. And name has been turned into its own language courtesy of 2 real wild cards there in Ben Friedman and Alex Mashelton. So you got to give them some credit on that. But Ingram is a younger guy who's seen a lot of success in the Grand Prix and Open Circuit. It's good to see him back in the top 8 here as a member of Team Metagame Gurus.
I made the mistake once of, during a broadcast, making fun of Coheed and Cambria, which is apparently a very good way to draw the ire of 14-year-olds who engage in social media.
Or 30-year-olds that engage in social media, like myself.
That wasn't where the hate was coming from.
Yeah. Don't do that again. Pellman will take a look at 6 cards. Now, I cannot imagine his deck is one that mulligans particularly well.
No. A lot of weird pieces, a lot of 4+ mana spells.
But he will keep them underway. And you talked about how important it is. Maybe have a fetch land to start the game off here for Peter Ingram, so he can search up a basic plains. Well, he does have an Arid Mesa to start. No sacrifice just yet, however. As you saw Pellman just start off with the plains. For Ingram, an island, pass the turn back. So basic lands are important, and he has found them. For Pellman, it's a Chalice of the Void for 1. Now, Ingram is looking at a mana leak, and I am curious if he finds it necessary to mana leak this spell or not.
So the 1-mana spells in his deck, Spell Snare, Lightning Bolt, Path to Exile, and Serum Visions. Many of those cards don't really do anything. Spell Snare doesn't have a whole lot of targets. Bolt and Path to Exile aren't great in the matchup. So this is a hard Chalice to analyze because it does lock out a lot of cards, but a lot of the cards it locks out aren't that significant.
I guess when you think about it, no real creatures to path.
Right. The creatures in the deck are 3 Simian Spirit Guides, 1 Emerald Cold, 1 Stormbreath Dragon. So
and then
passing those good.
You know, bolts take care of planeswalkers, kind of, but not really.
Right.
So more than anything, I think he'll be discarding those 1-mana spells to Nahiri.
Yeah.
You know?
That's the other reason to let it resolve. He doesn't have to worry as much about dead cards because he has access to Nahiri, can loot that stuff away.
I mean, he does let the Chalice resolve. And now Ingram, he played a Celestial Colonnade, and now we're heading back his way for his fourth turn of the game. As we do have an update for you very quickly, Andrew Jessup, another member of Team Metagame Gurus, not messing around. Does win game number 1 very quickly with his Infect deck up a game over Tron.
And that's a big win there because now he has his sideboarded answers to Spellskite, which is the Tron deck's best way of cheating the matchup.
And Nature's Claim,
Twisted Image,
stuff like that. And land number 4 here for Ingram is a Scalding Tarn. He'll sacrifice that and the Arid Mesa. He'll get a basic plains. And now a Steam Vent. It's going to take 2. And we might see him go towards Nahiri right now. Now, both of these players do have access to the combo, for lack of a better term, of Nahiri plus Emrakul. And it's a doozy, and there is Nahiri right now.
Well, getting yours going first is a big way to get an edge there.
To say the least. Nahiri's going on up. See if Pete's going to discard a card or not. Yeah, he'll discard Path to Exile. Pretty easy discard given the Chalice out there.
And Ingram, you know, with mana leaks and cryptic commands and so forth, if he's able to get out of this turn without disaster striking, I don't know if Pellman can catch up.
Ryan Overturf does win game number 1 of his match against Alex Orosky and his green-black Infect deck. I see Pellman going to remove a Simian Spirit Guide to be able to cast his Nahiri. So he'll be upping that, discarding a plains and drawing a card.
Also keep in mind, Ingram can get ahead in the race too by Cryptic Command bouncing things as well.
Very true. Back over to Pete we go. He'll draw a card, picked up a Flooded Strand. Remember, those Lightning Bolts, Serum Visions, Path to Exile is not going to do anything here for Ingram. He'll plus his Nahiri. Discard a Lightning Bolt. Draw a card. Picked up a Steam Vents. Flooded Strand is the land for the turn. And Pete can just pass the turn back.
And you see him sitting on a hand of Remand, Mana Leak, Cryptic Command.
Pretty good hand to sit back on.
Well, Pellman's hand is, I'm guessing, 4 and 5 mana cards that have no protection against counterspells.
Most likely. Most likely. Anger the Gods. Good discard. Not going to be doing very much this game or in this match. There's a Rugged Prairie. This is a Stormbreath Dragon. That's a good target for Remand.
Or Cryptic Command, or Mana Leak.
That's
All those spells are very good against Stormbreath Dragon.
That's true, too.
Remand.
So one of the things that I think Pete's going to want to do is he's going to want to counter bounce. Yeah, exactly like that. Because if he just remanded the Stormbreath Dragon, that would have left John with 7 permanents.
Sure. And then Nahiri comes on the way back.
And then Nahiri actually comes on the way back, gets Emrakul, and then both players have no permanents?
Well, I guess the Emrakul could just attack Nahiri.
Okay, sure. Yeah, sure. Okay, that's true. That's true. I think he'd rather just clean up all the permanents right now, which is exactly what he's going to do.
This is better.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. This is better. But even if he messed that up, it would still be fine.
Hallowed Fountain's going to end the battlefield untapped. We're also going to see Pete animate that Celestial Colonnade. Annihilator Trigger is going to take care of all 6 of John's permanents. 19 damage will be dealt. And we're going to play, I think, one more turn here. I believe he's going to shuffle it back in. John not going to concede just yet.
Big draw step coming.
Could be anything. Pellman down to 1. He'll draw a card. Respect. Still battling. So much respect right now.
Make him go through with it,
yeah. Ingram will play a Steam Vents. He'll fire up, come on across, attack, and that is going to do it. Pete Ingram's going to win game #1 here over John Pellman. Just got control very quickly up a game over White-Red control. We had a feeling that's how this game was going to go on Pete's side. If he can get basics and get Nahiri going, unfortunately for John, he doesn't have a great answer.
Exactly. I think that, like I said, Pellman's got to land some sort of knockout punch very early on in the game. If Ingram's able to make his land drops, I think Remand, Mana Leak, Cryptic Command, and Snapcaster Mage is just too much for Pellman's deck to play through.
Well, let's take a look at the sideboards here for both players. As they're taking a look at the deck list, we get to do the same thing. We'll start with John Pellman, who's got 3 Rest in Peace to Shatterstorm, a Leyline Sanctity, 2 Celestial Flare, 1 Stony Silence, 2 Celestial Purge, a Ghost Sleep Prison, 2 Zealous Conscripts, and 2 copies of Boil.
Well, I would imagine Boyle is going to be coming in here just because Pellman's got a lot of dead weight to cut. I don't think it's great in the matchup, but you can pair it with Blood Moon hopefully to knock out some lands, and if Ingram gets sloppy, taps out for the wrong thing, maybe you can catch some lands. It's not like Ingram has that many islands at the end of the day, but it's still probably better than some of the other cards. I also like Zealous Conscripts in the matchup because Ingram, Nahiri's up to 8. Take it.
Oh, daddy.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So get me that Zealous Conscripts too.
I hope that happens now.
Yep, and then cut any number of anti-creature measures that are in the deck. 2 timely reinforcements and,
Day of Judgment, Wrath of God.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
whatever.
That stuff can all go. For Pete Ingram, 2 Ancestral Vision, 2 Crumble to Dust, 2 Negate, 2 Anger the Gods, a Vendilion Click, a Dispel, an Engineered Explosives, a Wear Tear, Stony Silence, a Timely Reinforcements, and a Celestial Purge.
I think the Celestial Purge can come in against the various Planeswalkers here. I think Vendilion Click is great in this kind of matchup. I think Ingram wants to play a flash game as much as he possibly can, force Pellman to play spells on his own turn, and if Pellman won't cooperate, then you have Vendilion Click and so forth to pull ahead. And I think the 2 copies of Negate are great against all of Pellman's Planeswalkers and sideboarded Boils.
Gives you an idea of what both players are playing with here for game #2. John Pellman will be on the play, and while these players do shuffle up, well, let's take a look at regionals, in which we have an awesome playmat available for our regional championships taking place in Season 2. We've got an awesome token to give away as well. It's our good friend the Goblin. Ugh, not again. I'm sure that's what John's thinking right now from that Emrakul beatdown he just took. And put them together, you get a playmat, you get a token, and you get it all at regional championships during Season 2 of the SCG Tour, August 6th. Keep in mind, this is free and exclusive to the first 200 players that do sign up. So go to starcitygames.com/regionals for more information.
And we'll get those venues posted and other information about the regional championships as we get a bit closer to the date. Still a couple months out there, but August 6th, that'll be the date.
Absolutely. Now, one thing we also want to discuss as well is the StarCityGames.com weekly sale that is taking place, because there's not a lot of time left to kind of take advantage of the savings on some select wholesale goods.
Yeah, the wholesale sale on wholesale goods.
Okay.
Go check out these various lots on sale until 10:59 a.m. tomorrow morning, so you're running out of time. Every week, Star City Games has a new sale, so make sure to check back to the website 11 o'clock. And, if you're coming in towards the end of the sale, you just got to wait a few more minutes for the new sale to post. This is very easy. StarCityGames.com. Place your wholesale sale order today and get that wholesale lot while it's still on sale.
Did you enjoy that?
I'm not the one. Let's back this up. I'm not the one that called it the weekly sale and called the lots wholesale lots. I'm not the one who started that. And this only happened because I accidentally said wholesale sale earlier in the broadcast.
I understand.
Tripped me up a little bit.
I thought you actually glided through that one pretty nice.
Yeah.
I'll let you know. My favorite thing, I have a lot of favorite parts about this job. I consider myself to be pretty lucky I get to talk about Magic for a living. But doing the ads.
Yeah. I love the ads.
Easily the best part.
Right.
Easily the best part. Because it's just kind of ad lib.
It is ad lib. I like that. It's also a balancing act because I am under the employ of Star City Games.
You are.
For the purposes of the show. I also find most forms of advertising to be deeply unethical. So, how do I balance these competing interests?
It's very difficult.
Try to be earnest as possible.
Yeah.
Try to give the viewer information, but don't necessarily lead them to water. Just present what's going on.
Okay.
And hopefully, Star City Games will be happy with the promotion of their products, and I can sleep at night. Am I doing a great job? I don't know. I'm just saying this is where the ebb and the flow of the ads come from.
Well, I appreciate the honesty
Right.
in advertising.
Right.
Here's what's happening.
Hey, this stuff's on the website. Go check it out. If you don't want to buy it, that's cool. But occasionally there's some sweet deals up there. I make use of the sales fairly frequently myself. Go check it out. There's good deals up there.
Got an update for you guys at home, by the way. Daniel Hendrickson with Greenard Valakut up a game against Dylan Jones and his Jun deck. He had a feeling that was going to be the result, too.
Yes.
And we have our first final result. Not much of a surprise here. I'm sure it was a great tournament for Steven Dykman. Green Tron being the most played deck in day number 2, so he certainly made a very good selection, but he ran into a bad matchup here in Andrew Jessup and his green-blue Infect deck.
Barring him stealing game 1 on the back of Spellskite, I felt like his matchup there was very poor, and losing game 1 and then losing game 2 in approximately 5 minutes is not a surprising outcome.
Yeah, I've been on the receiving end of that matchup. It's nope. To say you have to get lucky is an understatement.
Hard enough for Tron to beat Mutavault out of honest decks. Much less Inkmoth Nexus being backed up by Pwn spells.
Yeah, it's no fun at all. And Spellskite is not going to get the job done against them. They have so many removal spells to be able to kill that. Natural Slate, Nature's Claim, Twisted Image. Just too much for Tron to overcome. So Andrew Jessup into the semifinals. Team Metagame Gurus making their presence known. Small team. Andrew Jessup, Danny Jessup.
All out of Strong Island.
Yeah. Pete Ingram, Jim Davis, and the daddy, Kevin Jones. That's the 5. That's TeamMetaGameGurus.com. 2 of them in the top 8 here. I can't forget, too, Jim Davis, when that team was forming up, he won that Open in Baltimore with Bant Company, kind of warped all standard.
And I'm guessing, especially with Jim Davis kind of being at the head of that organization, and with Jim Davis already being qualified for the Players' Championship as a result of winning last year, that everyone's goal collectively is to get as many of them to the Players' Championship as possible.
Gotta be. Both players going to take a look at their opening hand. John Pellman looks happy with his. See if Peter Ingram's good with his. He is. We're underway. Temple of Triumph is where Pellman is going to start. He will scry. Top card going to stay on top very quickly there. For Ingram, Snapcaster makes the draw. There's a Scalding Tarn.
And unless his hand has some sort of protection, I guess he does. Okay. I was going to say, I would have played the Flooded Strand first to give him the ability to find a Plains. If he's got a counterspell here for the Blood Moon, then that's different.
What one-mana counterspell can he have?
I guess, yeah. Suppose he doesn't have anything. There's no annuls or anything of the sort.
Yeah, I think this could be bad news, actually, for him.
If that's the case, then, yeah, I think it was important to play Flooded Strand on 1 so he could go get a Plains and then have the ability to Nahiri away the Blood Moon down the line.
There's the Flooded Strand that's a mountain now. So this could get a little bit interesting, I suppose.
Or the opposite of interesting, as many games involving Blood Moon and opponents who are stalling on lands.
Ah, yes, right. Ingram with another fetch. There's a Temple of Triumph from John. Lightning Bolt's going to go upstairs.
I mean, with Snapcaster Mage in hand, at least Ingram has that option. And now he's drawn a Negate 2, which is some good protection. So he can play the Snapcaster Mage and Bolt Pellman, start attacking with Negate backup. Not great, but serviceable.
Here's Snapcaster Mage. There's Lightning Bolt. And perhaps we found ourselves a plan here. Now keep in mind, Pellman, all those red-white lands that he has, they're all just mountains because of Blood Moon. Both players are kind of being messed up by the Blood Moon here. Now Ingram doesn't have a Plains, and he just played Desolate Lighthouse, so he's got a lot of red mana and then just one single blue mana. But here comes Old Snappy.
Blood Moon is just leads to some compelling and rich games. There's no two ways about it.
Yep.
Every game made more fun for players, viewers, and coverage staff when Blood Moon's involved.
And who might argue? Who might argue? I'm having a blast. Discard.
I like, he's got a lot of red-white dual lands in play, but those don't work, so getting rid of the Gideonger is solid.
Ingram's just playing fetch lands that are mountains. Pellman probably going to have to discard again. Oh, he's got a spell to play. It's a Chalice for 1.
Another really fun lock piece.
Well, he's certainly had fun with them all weekend long.
But Remand.
One of your favorites. One of your favorite cards has been cast. Cryptic Command the draw there from Pete. Nice. Couldn't be further away from casting it. Can he even cast? Does he have 3 islands in his deck to cast?
I think he has 2.
Nice. Doesn't need 3 islands this game, though. There's a Chalice for 0.
I'm not positive what this is all about unless he's trying to shut down Ancestral Vision.
And this stops him from discarding, probably.
Sure. Okay, sure. I'm sure he's got some white card that's no good he can discard instead.
It stops him from discarding, and here's a Lightning Bolt. That's a Lightning Bolt. That's Pete Ingram moving on.
Great game. Great game.
That is Pete Ingram moving on to the semifinals, defeating John Pellman 2-0. Just Guy Control takes care of white-red control. And truthfully, we felt if Peter just had his mana working, this would be the outcome.
Woof. That game.
My friend, that's Blood Moon at work right there.
Hey, and you want to know something? You know who I get to blame for that?
Who?
The Twitch chat.
Yeah.
They voted. They didn't just vote. They overwhelmingly voted. There were 4 options, more than 50% of the field voted for that match.